This is Kate Swoboda, creator of YourCourageousLife.com, director of the Courageous Living Coach certification at TeamCLCC.com, and author of the book, The Courage Habit, which is available at booksellers and at Amazon. The Your Courageous Life podcast is all about going after what you want and creating and living a more courageous, emotionally resilient life. Might drop a couple of F-bombs, so maybe don't listen with your kids in the backseat of the car. And here we go with today's episode. Hey, friends. All right, we're back for another episode, and this is an episode that is related to the episode previous. So the last episode that I did was on eliminating daily stress, and that episode was more geared towards here's how you can proactively identify sources of daily stress and start doing things to reduce them, eliminate them, shift them, etc. And this podcast episode is one that you might want to bookmark, this one right here, because this is about immediate stress relief. This podcast is one that you'll find useful for when you are in it. So I'm going to record this episode as if somebody is going, all right, I am in it. Like the stress has hit. It's just like, it's so bad. And I need something that I can start doing, because if I just keep zoning out with a bottle of wine and watching Netflix, like I'm going to go into a very dark place. All right. These are, by the way, things that I actually do when I am having just a really, really stressful day. So always good to do the things that prevent stress from happening in the first place, things that we can do to identify patterns that don't serve us, that lead to stress, that get amped up when times are really tough. Always good idea to be proactive about trying to find places where stress could creep in and maybe doesn't have to. This podcast episode, though, is you are in it and you don't want to be in it. You want to process through it. So here's how you can start to immediately release stress. All right, first thing that's at the top of my list, and longtime listeners know that it'll be here, and I'm going to just try to move through each of these today, by the way. First thing at the top of my list, cry. And this is one that the very short story is that for a long time I was super resistant to crying. I equated it with wallowing in your problems and just being kind of like a sad sack. Now I understand that when I'm really, really stressed, there is a part of me that just feels lost, feels alone, doesn't feel heard, doesn't feel like anybody else will get it. And just because I feel that way doesn't mean it's real. And I can logically understand that because I'm an adult, and crying is stress relief. It's very helpful, very therapeutic to cry. Now, this is the part of the episode where I do want to make sure that I say that if you are someone who has been crying pretty much nonstop, not just in the midst of some stress relief, but you are really having a lot of trouble with crying, please seek professional help. This podcast episode is for people who do not have an active diagnosis of clinical depression or anything like that. This is like for people who are just going about their day and then the stress really builds up and they're going, okay, I need some tools. First tool is cry. Cry, cry, cry. Second tool, when stress is really up, get out some anger. Look for where you're angry and get out some anger. I had a day recently where some settings in Zoom were not doing what the English words beside them said they would do. Side note, I hate Zoom, like with a red hot passion. So when I started to feel very frustrated with Zoom, it was not a leap to decide to scream into a towel and drop some F-bombs. Like, what the fuck? It's just like, I was just going crazy and stomp on the floor. I also, by the way, cried. Sometimes getting tapped into your anger also will lead to your tears. But in essence, I just needed to scream, because if I didn't scream into a towel about what was going on with Zoom that I had spent literally 3 hours trying to figure out, I was going to go nuts and like take it out on my kid or take it out on my husband, not in like a abusive road ragey, kind of way, but just, those things where like when you're irritated and then somebody walks in the room and goes, "What's wrong?" And you're like, "Nothing." Yeah, it's just like, I don't want to do that to my family. So screaming into a towel, stomping on the floor. So number 1, cry. Number 2, scream into a towel, stomp on the floor. You'll notice something here. They're both forms of getting your feelings out. You are not going to logic through your stress. Logically, we all know we're not supposed to sweat the small stuff, yet we do. So get the feelings out. Stop trying to be logical about it. Cry or get out some anger. Next one, physical exercise. I have these balls that we use for CrossFit. They're weighted balls. So they're balls that are really heavy to a certain weight. And they're called medicine balls. And I'll go out to the garage and I'll pick up a medicine ball, raise it over my head, and do what's called a med ball slam, where I actually slam it onto the floor as hard as I can. Do that over and over and over. I have also done box jumps. I have also gone for a run. I have also done boxing. I have also done pull-ups, push-ups, some kind of physical exercise to release stress. Next idea, if that doesn't sound like your version of a good time, go on a walk. Super simple, go on a walk. Grab your headphones, listen to a podcast. Maybe listen to a podcast that's on a topic that you typically don't think about or that has nothing to do with your work or whatever's stressing you out. Like find a podcast on French Impressionism. Find a podcast on winemaking. Find a podcast, find a podcast on something that's just like a kind of fun, curious topic. Go look up somebody who is a good interview. Matthew McConaughey. Go find any place where he's been interviewed for a podcast. He's fun. He tells stories. It'll get your mind off things. Go on a walk, listen to a podcast. Next on my list, making a list. Sometimes when I'm really stressed out, even if I have a pretty good setup in Basecamp for a project I'm working on, but I'm thinking about all the different moving parts and components, I'll grab a Post-it note and I'll write the top 3 priorities that I just want to focus on that day. There's something about that. Or make a list of all the things that you love about yourself, or make a list of all the things that you're grateful for. Make a list of all the ways that the person effed up that you're really, really mad at. Make a list of all the things you'd change about the world if it was up to you. Make a list of all the things that you wish were different in your life. Sometimes just getting out of your head and making a list can be really helpful for stress relief. Next one, ask yourself 2 questions. What can I control? What can I let go of? What can I control? What can I let go of? So you sit down with whatever it is that's stressing you out. Maybe your in-laws are being really rude to you. Well, what can I control? Well, I can't control them being rude to me because they're going to be rude if they're going to be rude. But I can control my reaction. What can I let go of? Well, how about I just don't read that rude text message again and think about it more? How about I notice if I'm about to talk about it with somebody yet again and go, like, I couldn't believe they did this. Just like, let it go. Don't talk about it right now. Another tool could be the opposite for you with the example I just gave, which is talk to a friend. And you know who you are, by the way. You know if you're a keeper inner or a letter outer when it comes to your personal problems. You know if you're hiding out and you're not telling people who love you and who would totally support you what's going on. You know if you're holding it all in. Tell the truth now, you know. And you know if you're somebody who tends to be pretty open about what you're going through. So if you, especially, I think it's always good to talk to a friend, but especially if you know that you're a holder inner instead of a letter outer, go call your BFF right now. Stop worrying about if you're going to bug her. She's in charge of her time. She can say no if she can't take the call. Go call your BFF. Next one, and this might seem like an odd one, but legs up the wall. So basically you lay on your back and you try to scoot your butt as close to the wall as possible, and then you put your legs straight up the wall vertically. And you sit like that for a little while. Your feet will tell you when it's time for everything to come down because your feet will start to lose blood. But In essence, it's a posture, it's a yoga posture, and it's a relaxing posture that really just like sends some more blood flow down to your heart and helps you to relax and regulate a little bit. And you can always combine any of these tools, by the way. If you want to have your legs up the wall and also cry, go for it. If you want to have your legs up on the wall while you're also talking to a friend, go for it. Here's the last tool that I use for immediate stress relief: guided meditation. Guided meditation in particular, because if I'm doing silent meditation when I'm stressed, I just sit there thinking too much about the thing I'm stressed about. It becomes like almost more effort to keep coming back to the breath as you would in traditional meditation. So guided meditation, really helpful. I am a meditation teacher for the Simple Habit app and for the Insight Timer app. The Insight Timer app in particular, I will say, has a lot of different meditations from other instructors than me on things like managing anger, releasing resentment, dealing with overwhelm, things like that. Personally, I have several that are there that are intended for that. I actually have one that's there that's about building confidence with meditation for air quotes, bad meditators. So if you are somebody who has been interested in how you might use guided meditation in order to help yourself when you're feeling stressed, but you feel like I'm not very good at meditation, well, this is a perfect opportunity for you to let go of that story. You could go check me out on Insight Timer and find that meditation on becoming more confident when meditating. And then you can start to release this idea that you're an air quotes bad meditator. You're doing great. All right, so here's your challenge for today. If you are listening to this and you know you need some immediate stress relief, pick one of these. Do it now. Don't wait, because you deserve better than feeling stressed for the next several hours or days or however long. Do this now. And you might not feel the relief from the stress like 5 minutes after you're done. But truly, if you're using these tools, use them, get a good night's sleep, you will start to see a difference. So they are, again, crying, screaming into a towel or stomping on the floor, getting some anger out, intense physical exercise, stuff that really gets your heart rate up, or just going on a walk, super simple, especially going on a walk and pairing it with a podcast, something that'll take your mind off of things. Ask yourself, what can I control? What can I let go of? Write it out if you need to. Make a list. You can make all kinds of lists, the things you're angry about, the things you're grateful for, whatever seems to be helpful for you. Lay with your legs up the wall to get your blood flowing in a different direction. Talk to a friend. And again, challenge you, if you know that you tend not to reach out when you're in it, this is your permission slip. This is the sign from the universe you've been waiting for. Right now, this is your sign. Go reach out. And guided meditation. Some kind of guided meditation that will just walk you through breathing and letting go of some of the stuff that's really getting to you. So I know that you're going to take this challenge. You're going to go do it now. Pick one of those. Do it now. Do it now. Do it now. Do it now. And I just also want to say that as I am recording this, I am thinking of the person who might be in it. And I am thinking of how they might think they're alone. I'm thinking of how they might think they aren't capable of shifting their situation. I am thinking of the pain, of the sadness, of the anger, of the hurt. I am thinking of you if you are in that place right now. You are not alone. There is an entire world of resources that are available to you, and you are always in choice. You can shift the stress, and you deserve to live a life where when there is an extreme amount of stress, you use tools to say, this is how I feel in this moment. I can change it. You are capable of so much more than you can imagine, and you will find your way through. All right, that's today's podcast. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. You know you can continue the work and the fun if you want to. Head on over to yourcourageouslife.com/begin and become a Your Courageous Life subscriber, because as soon as you sign up, you get access to an entire library of worksheets and audios and other bonuses. And of course, you'll be receiving more courage in your inbox. And who wouldn't love that? You can learn more about the Courageous Living Coach certification at teamclcc.com. You can get the Courage Habit at your local bookseller, on Amazon, wherever you like. We can even connect on social media. I'm on Facebook at Your Courageous Life. So look for facebook.com/Your Courageous Life. And I'm on Instagram as Kate Courageous. And I'd love to connect with you on Instagram. So here's to you, using these courageous tools in your life and creating a real ripple effect of good. And again, thanks so much for listening. I love it that you're here.